Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen with the Tough Eggs. I am Mr. Eccentric and today we'll be reviewing the Freelancer Max and hopefully answering that age-old question, does size really matter? Now, the Freelancer Max shares many features with the traditional Freelancer base, though there are some quite large differences, most notably the wider fuselage and cargo hold alongside the larger engines. The Freelancer Max is 38 meters long and 9.5 meters high, the exact same as the base version of the ship. However, the Max is a whopping 11.5 meters wider. This increase in size means the Max is a bit of a chunky ship, though it does give the ship a much larger cargo bay, able to haul 120 SCUs of cargo and also comfortably transport 2 grey cat rocks for ground-based mining. That's more cargo space than the base Connie, in a ship half the size, though I'm sure the Constellation Taurus will have something to say about that when it eventually makes an appearance. The added size does make the ship easier to hit, though the MISC Freelancer Max can reliably take a beating and keep flying, especially with its twin size 2 shield generators and 19,200 hit points. Speaking of combat, the Freelancer Max carries the same weapons loadout as the standard Freelancer, sporting 4 gimbal to size 3 weapons alongside 4 size 3 and 4 size 2 missiles, not to mention the manned rear defensive turret. When all of these aspects are combined, it means this medium hauler can hold its own in combat or even actively engage in PvE bounty hunting. The similarities with the base Freelancer don't end there, it also shares the same flight performance, able to pitch and yaw at 47 degrees per second and roll at 74 degrees per second. However, atmospheric flight is a bit awkward. As such, you will need to kick in the afterburner to break atmosphere, though I imagine this will be adjusted in the future. On another note, beware of the dark. The Max's forward lights don't currently work, so nighttime operations can be a bit tricky. Moving on, let's review the interior. Nothing has particularly changed here, and the same design aesthetic of all MISC brand designs can be found. We have a large cargo ramp allowing for easy loading and unloading. This is an incredibly spacious rear cargo compartment, capable of holding 2 grey cat rocks or 120 SCUs of cargo space as advised earlier. It also houses the component locations and the rear turret. The second area is the docking collar and the second smaller cargo area, with ship-to-ship and ship-to-station docking being tested in 3.13. I imagine this will soon be getting some more use. After this second set of doors, we have the crew area, hosting 4 beds/space coffins, a shared toilet and washroom, cooking station, and exterior access ladder. Again, all of this is similar to the traditional Freelancer. I would recommend using the side entry point to avoid any unwanted stowaways, especially when you're undertaking valuable trade runs. In the last portion of the ship, we also have the cockpit, with 4 seats, allowing 4 players to comfortably travel within the Freelancer. Each seat has its own MFD, allowing control of engineering functions to be manned by alternate players, though the pilot can still control all ship's functions from their position. Featuring 4 MFDs and a radar, meaning the Freelancer can be completely controlled by the solo player. The only negative about the Freelancer's cockpit is the restricted view, though it's easy to get used to and good use of the radar allows you to easily keep track of your targets. Now we've covered the exterior and interior of the Freelancer Max, let's go over my recommended build. To do so, we'll go over to Urkel, and as always a link for this build can be found in the description of the video. So, for shields I recommend a Sucheron and an FR76, both overclocked, giving us 63,000 hit points and a 58 second regeneration time. To power this, we're going to have a JS400 military grade A shield, and then to cool the build down, 2 Nightfall stealth grade A coolers. And then for the quantum drive, a XL1 military grade A quantum drive, giving the best overall performance in size 2. For weapons, I'd recommend 2 FL33 cannons. These have a 3.4 km range and impressive alpha damage of 1200. This allows them to take out most targets within 3 to 4 seconds of combating them. And then for the man turret, we're going to add a CF227 Badger, as most vessels at this range will be quite close up, so a repeat will do better than a cannon because you can put a lot more rounds down range. And then for the missile loadout, I'm keeping it stock. The Thunderbolts and Dominators are very good weapons. The only thing I could potentially change out would be the Dominator 2s and swap them for 2 Rattler 2s, though that's a personal preference. Altogether, combined with the ship and the materials, it's going to cost 2.5 million UEC to get the ship and upgrade it in this way. So, we have those components all installed in the Freelancer Max. Let's now check just how well she fares with day-to-day usage. Firstly, let's compare bounty hunting. I really do love these size 3 cannons on the Lancers. It's just satisfying sniping a ship from a long range, or completely annihilating a snub fighter at close range. As always, just start the engagement from range as I always advise. Keep those distances to limit return fire and jump away before their backup can even catch up. This method allows a pretty comfortable grinding experience, and as you're using energy weapons, any need to land and rearm is drastically reduced. Just avoid those pesky asteroids that don't load in correctly, and with this build it is very easy to maintain a good 500,000 to 700,000 UEC an hour, or even more if you get good with the rolls. So in about 20 minutes of bounty hunting I managed to net a total of 215,000 UEC with the Freelancer Max. Just goes to show how impressive and sturdy this reliable hauler can be, even in a combat scenario. However, I would recommend avoiding the ERT bounties. Those hammerheads might be a bit tricky for the Freelancer. It can probably take them out, but you're definitely going to take a beating trying to do it, so it's not worth the risk. Moving on from bounty hunting, let's take a look at cargo hauling. The spacious interior allows for 120 SCUs of cargo to be offloaded in a single transaction. Provided you can purchase that much stock from a station or from a different area, the size of the cargo hold allows for a pretty comfortable trade run to be completed. With the size 2 quantum drive, it also doesn't take too long in reaching destinations. You're able to travel the verse from end to end about 3 times over in one tank. And with the 152 meters per second speed in the atmosphere, it means you'll be landing faster than a Constellation 2 and hauling more cargo. Just to emphasize how useful this cargo space is, if you have a full cargo hold of Quantanium, you can earn as much as 960,000 UEC in one run. This is the equivalent to 4 cargo holds from a prospector, but it's very easy to do. I've done this just now, haven't quite filled the Freelancer Max up. I'm running 110 SCUs worth of cargo. I would advise doing this before you log off. Just go mining for a little bit, fill up your ships. It took me about an hour and a half to mine the Quantanium for this role. I just watched some Netflix whilst doing it in the background. I would advise doing that as it can get a bit mundane. And then I've let it cook overnight, come back on, and within 20 minutes of logging in, I'm at ArcCorp and we're going to sell this Quantanium load. Now I think I've got 110 SCU, so it should be about 900,000 UEC if my maths is correct. So let's just take a quick look. Just take a few seconds just to load the cargo hold. I was on a bit of a laggy server. Yeah, and that's 889,000 UEC within 20 minutes of logging into the game. Just goes to show how useful this cargo space can be. That's the equivalent of 2 runs in a standard Freelancer, or nearly 3 in a Cutlass Black. The large cargo size also means you can make pretty lengthy land-based mining operations with a rock, or 2 if you have a friend, able to really fill in that cargo hold and go a lengthy period of time down on planets, just as long as you don't run out of supplies for your character. The Freelancer Max is an incredible ship. It contains all of the great Freelancer qualities, holds impressive firepower, sports a larger cargo grid allowing for much easier vehicle operations, can be perfectly operated by a solo player, is potentially the largest ship available that can use small jump points in the future, and only costs 2.2 million UEC. All in all, this ship is fantastic. I highly recommend it as a second ship for players looking to upgrade from their base starter in-game. To be honest, I would recommend upgrading the standard Freelancer pledge to the Max pledge, as it's just so much more versatile. I'd rate this a solid 9.5 out of 10. The only downside being the broken lights and somewhat clunky atmospheric flight model. At the end of the day, I guess size really does matter. Thank you for watching the video today guys, I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you'd like to see more content from the Tough Eggs, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions regarding the build, don't hesitate to drop a comment. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.